What's up, gamers? It's Above, and in today's video, I'll be covering one of the most broken, stupidly fun, overpowered hunter builds I have ever used in my 7 years of playing Destiny. Void 3.0 introduced subclass synergies that allow hunters to go invisible in more ways than ever before. And trust me when I tell you that you've only just scratched the surface of what this subclass can do. If you enjoyed today's video, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. Now let's get into it. Today's build actually centers around Destiny's new weapon type. The Glaive was introduced with the launch of Witch Queen and has been met with mixed reviews so far. It's fun, but the damage can be a little underwhelming at times, especially in endgame content. This video will not only change your mind on the Glaive, it'll make you struggle to put it down once you've started using it. So what makes this so special? As we've progressed our seasonal artifacts, we've begun to unlock some of the most powerful mods that will be used throughout Season of the Risen. But one mod that people are overlooking is the Suppressing Glaive. At first glance, you may think this mod is situational, primarily used on Hive Guardians within the Legendary campaign. Well, I'm gonna stop you right there because this mod works on all enemies, which is obviously very strong on its own, but this mod makes you nearly unkillable when paired with the new Void 3.0 Hunter build that I've prepared for you today. This build centers around the stylish executioner aspect for the hunter. This aspect states that when defeating weakened, suppressed, or volatile targets, you are granted invisibility and true sight, and after performing a stylish execution, your next melee attack while invisible will weaken targets. So let's recap. The Glaive has an artifact mod that allows you to suppress enemies when damaging them, while stylish execution allows you to go invisible each time you kill an enemy under that suppression debuff. You're probably starting to see where I'm going with this. As you use the Glaive, you kill ads, you go invisible, rinse, and repeat. And what's funny is that this is just the start of what makes this build insane. Today's build takes this synergy and turns it up to 11, allowing your hunter to remain invis at all times with increased utility and health regen and a free debuff whenever you want it. Let's start with the Void 3.0 subclass. For this build, we'll be using Mobius Quiver, which fires 2 volleys and is one of the highest burst damage supers in the game. And since enemies become volatile when hit with this super, enemy defeats will grant you invisibility. Next, we have Marksman Dodge, which has a faster base cooldown than Gambler's Dodge by 9 seconds and reloads your equipped weapon, which has its uses in PvE. I'll also be using the Vortex Grenade as it pulls enemies into its radius and secures kills more consistently than any other grenade in my experience. I've already touched on what the stylish executioner aspect can do, and we'll be pairing this with the vanishing step aspect, which grants you invisibility on dodge and opens up a 4th fragment slot for us to use, which is important because the fragments are what make this build insane. First up, we have Echo of Leeching, where melee final blows start health regeneration for both you and your allies. And yes, this works with Glaive final blows, even the light attack that doesn't consume ammo. I tried to pair this with Wormhusk for even more survivability. The melee regeneration from this fragment actually puts Wormhusk's health regen on cooldown, making it useless in most situations. Health regen is crucial for solo play, and the fact that it can help save your teammates is only a bonus. Next, we have Echo of Persistence, which gives our invisibility an increased duration. As you can see here, our base dodge grants 5 seconds of invisibility, and with Echo of Persistence, this duration increases to 7 seconds. Though Graviton Forfeit, Frosties, and Orpheus Rigs are all solid options for this build, I opted for the 6th Coyote because we not only have more dodges available to us, it also has additional benefits that I'll touch on later in the video. I don't see much value in Omnioculus with this build simply because we're using our dodge to go invisible instead of our smoke. And the reason I recommend this approach is because you can actually throw a smoke grenade when the Glaive is in your hand, which makes the smoke bombs a bit awkward to use. The Marksman Dodge just feels really natural, and I highly recommend this instead. Next, we have Echo of Undermining, which allows our grenade to weaken targets, making our Vortex Grenade even more potent. This is essentially a mini version of Oppressive Darkness from Season of Arrivals, which gives us a free debuff and allows our grenade to clear groups of ads with ease, all while granting us invisibility. And lastly, we have Echo of Exchange, where melee final blows grant us grenade energy. And yes, this also works with the Glaive. So to recap, we can dodge for invis, use our crazy powerful grenade for invis, and every time we get a kill with our Glaive, we go invis as well. While using the Glaive, we rapidly feed our grenade energy, start health regen on each kill, and have these effects extended by the Echo of Persistence Fragment. Yeah, this build is insane, and we haven't even covered armor mods yet. I've already touched on the suppressing Glaive and the interactions it has with our Hunter subclass, but now it's time to reveal the rest of the mods that make this build so special. First up, we have Energy Vampirism. This is another seasonal artifact mod that provides energy gains to your least charged ability every time we suppress an enemy. We're constantly suppressing enemies with this build, and each time we do so, we get 1/3 of our least charged ability back, which makes our ability uptime unlike anything I've ever seen before. Next, we have Reaping WELLMAKER, a void mod that generates a void elemental well when you kill an enemy after dodging, which we're doing constantly. It's this mod that inspired me to run 6th COYOTE because it allows you to open an encounter with a dodge to get up close and personal with the Glaive, and then chain invisibility over and over and over again. Not to mention the fact that you'll always have a second dodge at your disposal if you need it. We'll also be able to generate elemental wells from grenade final blows with elemental ordnance, which means we'll have the ability to spawn elemental wells whenever we need them. Now let's dive into what we'll be using elemental wells for. First, we have Well of Tenacity, which reduces incoming damage you take from combatants for a short period of time. So when you dodge, then kill an enemy, it will spawn a void elemental well that grants us a 50% damage resist for 7 seconds, which is equivalent to pre-nerf Protective Light. We'll also be using Font of Might to grant our Glaive a 25% damage bonus and Elemental Time Dilation to increase the duration of these effects, granting us 7 seconds of damage resist and 11 seconds of invisibility after a melee final blow. The only bizarre interaction to note is that Font of Might doesn't actually increase the light attack damage of the Glaive, only the ranged attack, which is likely due to the same bug mentioned in this week's TWAB that prevents the Grave Robber perk from procking on the Glaive at the moment. Though I imagine this will be fixed in a future update, it's worth noting nonetheless. So the combat flow will look something like this. Use your first dodge with 6th COYOTE to open an encounter, get up in the enemy's face with the Glaive, and begin chaining invis over and over and over again. As you're doing this, Energy Vampirism will be refunding energy to both your dodge and grenade abilities because you're constantly suppressing enemies. I paired the Glaive with the Parasite Exotic Grenade Launcher because as I slay out with the Glaive, I'll be building stacks of Worm's Hunger, which will allow the Parasite to nuke any majors and champions we encounter, especially when paired with the debuff from our Vortex Grenade. It's literally the perfect combo. If you ever need your second dodge in a bad situation, it's there for you, and you can use it to freely take advantage of Reaping WELLMAKER, which will allow us to proc Font of Might and Well of Tenacity multiple times per encounter. This makes you tanky even in underleveled content, and on top of this, you can run 2 hands-on mods on your helmet, which grants you increased super energy on each melee kill. All of this combines for a build that isn't just fun, it kicks ass in endgame content. And the cherry on top of this endgame build is the fact that you can run Unstoppable Glaive, Anti-Barrier Scout Rifle in your kinetic slot, which we hardly even use because the Glaive is going so crazy, and you can even equip Overload Void Nades on your class item so you can cover all 3 champions regardless of the activity that you're running. The footage you've been watching in this video is from the legendary campaign under contest, some solo and some in a 3-man fire team with the iron modifier active. I also ran this build in my first ever run of the Vox Obscura mission where I was nearly 20 under power and it absolutely dominated. This infinite invis build gives me the sneaky assassin power fantasy I've always dreamed of. A smooth killer and silent assassin that takes enemies out from the shadows. Well guys, that concludes today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. And if you guys want to check out this type of build crafting live, you can catch me over on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/above, where we stream almost daily. Well guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!